Welcome everybody to another edition of WCW 2003 here in DW 2020, as it's the night after Clash of the Champions, and more importantly, it's the first night of Eddie Guerrero in WCW in more than 2.5 years, so let's get rolling. As in a decent pre-show match, Alex Wright, Yang, and Jason Jett defeated Kaz, James Storm, and Mark Jindrak in 14:53 when Wright submitted Kaz with an STF. This gets a 66, Jason Jett gets a 60, Yang gets a 56, Alex Wright gets a 73, Mark Jindrak gets a 64, James Storm gets a 68, and Kaz gets a 67. Overall, the match, like I said, gets 66. Solid match, get some people some in-ring time who won't be on the main show. And then we have the beginning of the show. So, Eddie Guerrero basically, comes out, Viva Guerrero, some sort of, as close as we can get to a ripoff of Eddie's WWF theme. He has a big long entrance, fans pop. Eddie goes over his history in WCW, his addictions, his time in WWE. He says, basically, I'm not here to slam the other side, but I knew I'd done all I could do here. And more importantly, when I was a kid, Holmes, my father didn't tell me about wrestling Bruno or Morales. He told me about wrestling Briscoe, Race, Funk, and then NWA champions, which is why I'm here. Because my name is Eduardo Guerrero, and one way or the other, I will become WCW champion. So this gets an 82, big pop for Eddie. He's back. Everybody's happy. Hooray. And then Bischoff comes out. Bischoff basically, says he's glad to have Eddie back in WCW. There was some hard feelings between he and Eddie for what happened when they last worked together, but Eric's a different man, so is Eddie. So, Eric sort of extends his hand. But you know what Eddie Guerrero does? Eddie Guerrero punches him in the goddamn face, because he's, And this gets a big face pop. Eddie walks away. This gets an 84, and here we go. So yeah, good solid start. Notice Eddie's not quite doing great numbers as far as promos and such. But he's still really good. He's getting slightly. He's probably getting penalized a bit for the poor gimmick, but that'll hopefully get better. Or if it doesn't get better, I'll do the quick re-gimmick, just to do something different. But, I won't really re-gimmick it in, but slightly shift it and do the same name and everything just to do the new gimmick. But yeah, but still good solid stuff. Then we have our opening match, where we have an bout that had terrible wrestling and nauseous and crowd heat. Gail Kim and Lexi James defeated Celine Cartier and Jordan Cole in 8:07 when Gail Kim pinned Celine Cartier. This gets a 62. Lexi James gets a 54, Gail Kim gets a 58, Jordan gets a 51, Celine gets a 53. And yeah, just solid match to get the heels back on TV, because they haven't been on it in a couple weeks, and get a good solid win. And then afterwards, we get a promo which gets a 57, where basically they both challenge Angel Fox in their own way. Gail Kim says, she's the future of women's wrestling. Lexi James reminds her that she's the head bitch in WCW, and there's nothing even Gail Kim can do about it, and she's going to win back her title sooner or later. And then they start arguing, before, we go to a commercial. So this gets a 57. Then we go backstage with the Horsemen. Kane's still very upset because he's still looking at his win over Rob Van Dam. He says it's still a conspiracy. There was a 30-minute time limit. If it had only been 32 or 33 minutes, he would have finally got that pin on Van Dam. And Flair sort of calms him down. Look, last night was a good night. I got to win. Jeff and Shane got to win. So tonight, you three go out there. You kick some ass. And Bischoff will be forced to show you how great you are. Okay, buddy? Because, you're Canyon. You're former world champion. You can do this, brother. Nobody's better than you, right? And Canyon's just, yeah, goes back. Yeah, nobody's better than Canyon. And there you go. 82, solid stuff. Then we have any about that at Subpar Wrestling and Aussies and Crowd Heat. Silver City Rollers defeat our Hurt Legacy in 9:27 when Reno pinned Jack Evans with a handful of tights. And that should be more like some sort of wacky thing with the turnbuckle, but it'll work. This gets a 71. Reno gets a 60. Cash gets a 66. Jack Evans gets a 67. Teddy Hart gets a 61. Just a tag match to get over the Silver City Rollers. Hart Dynasty can take the job. Good solid stuff. And then afterwards, Cash and Amber make out, which gets a 61. Then we go backstage where Mike Awesome promo with Jericho Rush, which gets a 59 because Mike Awesome doing a promo. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but he basically goes over the fact that, yes, he beat up, he and Lance Storm fought last night because he's realized he's better on his own. He's been held down by Lance Storm for the last couple of years, being stuck in the tag division when he could have been among the monsters at the top of the food chain, and he's going to prove that one way or the other. Then we have a Kidman in-ring promo where he basically, makes fun of Jeff Hardy, does some oblique references to Hardy's issues, and says that, Hardy did some flying, but he was never a true cruiserweight, and it's time to remind Hardy why Kidman is the greatest cruiserweight of all time, and why Hardy, why Kidman was the U.S. champion for actually a couple months, while Hardy got lucky for only one night. A 72, fairly straightforward promo. Then we have a really good match. This is actually this is kind of insane that they didn't even click, but it still got an 81. But anyway, a bout that had great heat and good wrestling. Kidman defeated Jeff Hardy in 10:47 by pinfall with a Kid Crusher after April Hunter interferes. Basically, April Hunter distraction. Hardy goes after her. Kidman attacks from behind, is able to get the pinfall victory. Kidman gets a 78. Hardy gets a 69. And then Kidman celebrating gets a 58 because it's with April. Then we have a Sting promo on Helms, basically going over the fact that, he's talked to Bischoff after Bischoff, got some ice on his shin, which Sting sort of laughs about, because remember, it's still Bischoff, so everybody still kind of hates him, even though he's been pretty neutral. That at Fall Brawl, it's going to be showtime for you, Helms, because I'm going to get that, because he's officially given me the U.S. title shot. And that means all you're talking about killing legends, well, you've got a legend heading straight for you, buddy. So good luck. So that's the first official match. So we'll pre-book that match, which is going to be Sting versus Shane Helms with the U.S. title on the line. Then we go to the next thing, which is a quick backstage promo where RVD is with Air Raid. They basically do babyface things. Says, RVD basically says, look, you're great. You're the new tag team champions. I almost got the one over Canyon last night, even though I should have got it sooner. But bro, we totally got this, because I'm RVD, and you guys are cool. 72, straightforward promo. Then we have in a exceptional match, Macias defeated Chuck Palumbo in 10:02 by pinfall the Crucifix Powerbomb. This gets a 74. Both guys got an 86, but no psych at all. Let me see if there's anything else that really hurt the match. Holding back, lack of psychology. Okay, lack of... Okay, Okay, so we could have had an 80 here, but anyway. But yeah, just a back and forth brawl. Well, was it officially a brawl? No, it was not. Okay. But yeah, basically it was... Oh, okay. It got hit because we were doing storytelling, but slow... Okay. So basically, Palumbo, lost Lightning versus Vampire, but he's still trying to fight versus Deadpool. But, Macias is able to, overpower him and get the pinfall victory, and thus get to 74. And then Macias is destroying Palumbo, but then Goldberg shows up and, basically runs him off. And there we go. Just more build-up between Macias and Goldberg as this gets an 85. Just your straightforward build-up, set up things for the future. Then we have a Shane Helms backstage promo. Remind people that he's still the greatest U.S. champion of all time. And it doesn't matter who he's faced. He can face... He's already killed... he's already beat Sting before. So the fact that Sting's getting another undeserved shot at the U.S. championship, just because he managed to get a lucky pinfall on his Monster Gigantes, that doesn't matter because he's the greatest United champion of all time. And when it's all over, Sting will be left dead down in the dirt. This gets a 69, because I probably should have put Borscht as a... Yeah, basically, I should have not put Borscht on there with his mic skills. But, just got to build up Borscht a little bit, I guess. Then we have our main event, which gets an 84. As a battle had superb wrestling and great heat, the Four Horsemen of Jarrett, Douglas, and Canyon defeat RVD in our Air Raid in 1952, when Jarrett pins... Okay, it says with a handful of ties, but we all know what's happening here. It's Jeff Jarrett. He hit him with a guitar. So RVD gets a 95, Air Paris gets a 75, AJ Styles gets an 83, Candy gets an 81, Douglas gets an 85, Jarrett gets an 87. So yeah, there's just a back and forth match, but in the end, Jarrett is able to get the big, victory over one of the members of the tag team champions. And then the heel celebrating gets a 99. Jesus Christ. Wow. Yeah, Ric Flair comes out and parties with him as, basically puts over the fact, that the Horsemen, the Horsemen got a big win over the tag team champions. And, Kanyon probably now even more thinks he deserves, something more, even though he still never actually beat Rob Van Dam. And then we go with our show closer, which this probably should have been our show closer, but what can you do? Well, this look is an 86. So basically, Deadpool are here. They say earlier, we finally rid ourselves of the destress that was Chuck Palumbo. But tonight, we saw somebody claim they want to be world champion once again. Eddie, you've had your issues, you've had your problems, you've had your addictions. You fall into the dark. We live in the dark, so don't think you can fight us. So, but of course, it's Eddie Guerrero. He's a good babyface, so he comes out, and he just comes out with a chair and just chases after all members of the Deadpool, and the show ends with Eddie in the ring with a chair pointing at Vampiro as things close out. So this gets an 86. Overall, the show gets an 88, so pretty good. Again, we would have gained popularity in 7 regions, but restricted due to limited reviewers there, and I sort of have an announcement about that in a little bit here. Mexican, British, okay. So yeah, really solid show. Good post-show, begins to build up the fall brawl. Eddie basically, puts Eddie at the center of things. That's about it. So I'll see you in a second when we go over the results of everything else, and so I'll be back in just a moment. So, hey folks, so as a quick thing, this is the time when I take over temporarily WWE to sort of book towards their SummerSlam show, to remember, also we had Scott Steiner saying he was carrying the company single-handedly. Steiner, you haven't been a show in like 3 months. But yeah, Nitro did 2.06, which is really solid. So just go over like what I booked for Raw, which you should sort of figure out what I'm heading towards. So we had a Team Angle showdown with Austin, as even though Angle is no longer world champion, Angle and Austin have sort of been the hot feud, even though they're both heels. Sort of who's a bigger son of a bitch. We had William Regal defeat Al Snow in a 76. Then a Chris Benoit run-in and brawl, as they have an IC title match, which gets a 73. We had Lita and Triple H backstage when Jackie Gata comes in. We had Dudley Boyz defeating Bumping Ground, which is Rikishi and Val Venus. Then the Dudley sending Val through a table. We have Brock and Big Show confrontation, because the world title match for SummerSlam is Brock versus Kane versus Big Show. Then we had Matt Hardy and K-Quick and Sexy, which is K-Quick and Brian Christopher, defeating Jerry Lynn and The Outcast. And if you remember, The Outcast are Rhino and Tommy Dreamer. So, yes, this is them, the ECW team without being the official ECW team. Which is 67. We had Kevin Nash defeating Scott Hall in a 71. And then a 2-on-1, but HBK made the save. Then there was, arguing and fighting, and a 97. We had an Orton promo. And then Orton defeating the Big Boss Man, but X-Pac attacking. We had Kane Taker backstage for a quick thing, but then the lights went out. And ignore that part where you saw Dave Bautista. We had Jackie Gata defeating Terry in sort of the, Eye Candy match. And then Jillian stripped Jackie Gata afterwards to continue the push towards their tag match. We had Edge and DDP backstage. And then the main event, the Brothers of Destruction defeated Brock and the Big Show when Kane defeated Big Show after some, what's the word I'm looking for here? After some miscommunication. So, overall match got a 77, because of course it did, because, this would get a 95 if it was booked by the AI, but it wasn't, so, screw that. But, again, I like booking just so the AI makes some sort of sense, I don't mind booking around with the AI books, like, the other 9 times around the year, but I want, like, SummerSlam and WrestleMania to sort of feel like SummerSlam and WrestleMania, as opposed to the randomness that can happen. But yeah, that's it for now. Let's see here. Random New Japan show. I think that's it. Let's see here. Is there anything else that you guys really need to see? Merchandise. Eddie is, quickly moving up the ranks. But even though he's only had a couple weeks, only had I think a day officially. So yeah, imagine if he had the whole month. Let's see here. Storylines, we're basically getting there. So the Flair Right storyline is at an 85. The Goldberg and Booker versus the Deadpool is at a 88. The Helm Sting, everybody's at 75. Canyons versus RVD is an 84. Kevin Hardy's an 81. Tag Wars is at an 87. The Helms versus Sting and Ray is at a 77. Vampiro Eddie is at a 84. And the women's title is at a 59. So good, solid stuff. But yeah, nothing else, too exciting happening here. That was just a fairly straightforward show, putting over folks. But yeah, that's it for now. So if you enjoyed this, go ahead and give it a like, comment below on what you're enjoying and not enjoying, and subscribe to the channel for lots of TW 2020 content, including this, my Cornoverse series, my MLW 2004 Ruthless Aggression series, my WCW 1983 with No Bischoff series, and of course this. But that's it for now, so talk to you later, and adios.